Hey, Jonathan, can you hear me?
Morning, Luca.
Hi. I haven't opened to everybody else yet.
Okay.
So I thought that today we'll do kind of let's do a kind of like interview style, and we can talk about not just the program that you're doing with the digital identity, but also we can talk about Sunday Swap and what it means for the Cardano network, and then also we can talk about your event. Sorry, your fundraiser.
Perfect.
Yeah. Do you have instructions for people to follow?
In terms of Catalyst registration, yeah, I don't have a video yet, but I can describe it, and then
I don't know. I could turn the volume down the bloody music on this thing. Sorry, I can't hear you.
Oh, I can't hear the music.
Let me stop it. Let me stop it for a second so I can talk to you for a minute. So
okay.
Yes, yeah. Do you have a link to give people so they can follow instructions? Because obviously people not,
Yeah, I don't.
Yeah.
I don't have a link as such. I can just point people at because you have to get it for Android or for Apple, depending on which user you are. Bits and bobs like that. But yeah, I can talk people through, and then I've got a session at 9:30 if people want to join.
Oh, fantastic! Yeah, so we can point them to that. Ideal. Okay, and try to keep it as simple as you can when we're talking about Atala Prism and the DIDs. Basically, what I want people to understand is kind of like a future look into the technology and what it can mean to them, what they can do with these DIDs, and what Cardano in particular is doing. The other blockchains are not. Yeah?
Right.
You ready?
Yeah, let's do it.
Okay, let's submit everybody. Hi, good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
Morning. Morning.
Is the audio good for you all?
Luca.
Morning, Luca.
Hi, good morning, everyone. Duncan, you're on co-hosting.
Yeah, Luca, can you make my other account co-host as well? Because I just need to move around a little bit today.
Yeah, no problem.
Thank you. Good morning, good afternoon, everybody. Great to see you all here.
You look very, very smart, Duncan. Very shaved.
Well, there's a story behind it. I had a bit of a mountain bike accident late last week, and ended up with a big black bump on my head and a bit of a black eye here. And with the beard, it was all starting to look a little bit, unbusinesslike. So I thought I'd better try and make an effort.
It's working. Very good.
Thank you.
Okay, guys, let's get straight into it. Today, we just have we had a last minute change, and we have a familiar face with us today. There's already been a guest in this show before, and because of what's going on at the moment with Cardano, we thought we would have Jonathan back as a guest to talk about several things that are going on in the Cardano world. Because as you might have heard, sorry, before I carry on, can we make sure, Duncan, we mute everybody, and we'll start again as I got some background noise. Yeah. Okay. Better now? Okay, can you still hear me? I'm not muted or anything? No. Okay, good. So, as you might have heard, if you in crypto and you listen to news about Cardano, obviously last night, Sunday Swap, kind of the biggest DEX launch that was planned for Cardano has actually happened. So you can now use decentralized exchange to trade Cardano native tokens, and we'll be talking to Jonathan about that. Also, we had Jonathan in because he's one of the pioneers for the new Cardano decentralized identity program, the Atala Prism. So we'll be discussing that, and in the end is also as an initiative for buy one give one as well, that we will talk at the end and discuss how you can get involved and supporting that too. Okay, Jonathan, let's get straight into it. And first of all, let's just do a soft introduction. Just say what's going on now with Cardano and the Sunday Swap, and what it means, for Cardano as a blockchain and as a project. But you're muted. Sorry, you need to unmute yourself. So, can you? Okay,
there we go. I'm unmuted.
All right, fine.
Morning, everyone. Sorry, I missed the question. I was too freaked out by me being muted.
Yes, no, we're talking about, let's start, kind of like an easy introduction now for those, for especially many people that are not aware of what, what's happening with the release on dApps or on Cardano, and what the launch of Sunday Swap means for the Cardano blockchain as a whole. Okay,
so this is probably the biggest explosion point in Cardano that we've had for a while. There's been a lot of build up, a lot of attack on Cardano as a network from externally, which is a very good sign, because it means that obviously you're doing something right. We're a big threat to the other chains, which isn't the stance that we need to take, because everybody can win in this together. So Sunday Swap being the first fully blown decentralized exchange on Cardano is very exciting. It means that anybody who's operating on the chain to create their own tokens, their own native tokens, now has a platform that they can trade those tokens between each other. So we've really created the first trading economy within Cardano ecosystem itself. There has been an exchange earlier than that, in fact, called Muesli Swap. That's a slightly different model, but again, is the same thing. People can exchange native tokens between themselves, but it runs as an order book model rather than as a full-blown exchange. So Sunday Swap's very exciting. Yeah, it's good. And successful launch after a good while, but yeah, that was yesterday. So we're very early.
And what is it expected in terms of now transaction volume going through the blockchain? So kind of like I know that it still remains to be seen, obviously, because it's still really the first 24 hours. So we'll see. But yeah. what is expected from your point of view as well? Because I know that for those of you that don't know, Jonathan also runs a stake pool for Cardano. So this is the way that you get rewards on your on the Cardano blockchain by delegating your votes, your tokens to a stake pool operator like Jonathan. So he's very much has got the inside view on that.
Yeah. So it's interesting. The smart contracts portion of Cardano was launched in September. So up until that point, we really only had the same functionality as Bitcoin. From September till now, we've had the ability for smart contracts, but very few people have had them written and tested, audited enough to be released, and for everybody to be confident in them until this year, really. So we have been very limited in terms of functionality compared to, say, Ethereum. Ethereum's had smart contracts for years now, and their transaction volume exploded with the use of smart contracts. So on Cardano, we were kind of thinking, well, it would be very quiet until actually we got some of these exchanges live. But in fact, Cardano consistently for the past 2 months certainly has had more transactions going across it than any other blockchain. So the volume has been boosted massively, despite there not being that many use cases for smart contracts on Cardano. So with the launch of the DEX now, we're expected to see a kind of scary amount of transactions starting to happen. So we've been reaching saturation on the network already. That means that every block that gets created on the network is actually full in terms of transactions that are put into it, ready to be processed, or smart contracts with portions of code that are looking to run. So the blocks, pre-September were maybe 20%, 30% full, and we've been hitting 80% consistently and peaking at 100%. So we've been having full saturation of the network, which means that everything is already boosted to the max.
And also even before this launch, Sunday Swap, I mean, on many days, the transaction value on Cardano was higher than the one on Ethereum in many instances. So it's kind of like it's difficult to understand for people to think, oh, there's not many things you can do on Cardano, but it's already transacting more than Ethereum that has been in this game for years.
Mm-hmm, yeah.
So this is why sometimes people don't understand what I'm talking about on different forums. Why there are so many people talking about Cardano as a game changer. It's already changing the game now before they even get going. So.
Yeah. I was at a call yesterday with even some guys, already in it. They know the tech. They've seen the value in Cardano, but they're still realizing things that you can do that just aren't possible anywhere else. So this was in a Sunday Swap launch party, and we were talking about okay, where do you put your ADA holdings to earn your Sunday Swap token rewards? Because that's what everybody's desperate to get hold of now, because they're going to increase in value so much. And so everyone said, okay, you stake with one of these scooper pools. There's 30 of them, and they'll all be earning you Sunday Swap tokens for the next 25 days, 5 epochs. And they're saying, okay, so for those 25 days, I can't touch my ADA, I can't buy NFTs and things like that. Do I have to do that from a separate wallet? I was like, no. So you've got, in those 25 days, you've got 5 sort of period windows where the snapshot, the volume of your wallet is taken. And the rest of the time, you can do whatever you want with your ADA. You can have that staked to a pool that is earning you ADA rewards like a normal pool, but you'll also be earning Sunday Swap tokens. Unlike with the MELD ISO, you could only earn MELD tokens, or you could choose to have 50% Cardano and 50% MELD. So with Sunday Swap, you can actually all the Sunday Swap tokens and all your ADA, and you can do everything else with it in between. So if you're really brave, then you know when your snapshot windows are, you could actually take your ADA out of that wallet, buy things with it, sell stuff on the exchanges, and then make sure it's back in the wallet when the snapshot's taken, and still have full access to your ADA for that period, full Sunday Swap rewards, full ADA rewards. So it's a dramatic improvement in terms of returns for every investor on it. It's a very well thought through system. And this was all known about by the devs, a year ago. They had this plan.
So it's pretty much, at the moment for users like us, is in a way kind of like a gift, kind of like an airdrop in a way, for supporting the project, which is really good. And now let's get into talk about the one of the projects that Cardano has really been invested a lot on, and what you are personally involved in, because you're one of the pioneers involved with the teaching the first cohort in really using this technology and using it to then entitled to help businesses get on the Cardano blockchain and use it for their businesses. So what we're talking about is the Atala Prism program, which is the program to develop digital identities on Cardano. Obviously, that's already been up and running, and what is being used, for example, was announced last year with the Ethiopia announcement. So it's already being used by IOHK, which is obviously the company that developed Cardano in the first place. And now it's being rolled out more widely. Can you please, kind of like trying to keep it as non-technical as we can you please explain to everybody what DIDs are, digital identities, and how they can be used, and how we all will get to use them in the near future to do what?
Yeah, so it's very easy to get very complicated in DIDs. So I'm going to, just put your hands up and shout at me if it's going too much. But essentially, DIDs will replace every form of credential that we have. So when we talk about credentials, we're talking passports, driving license, library cards, the obvious ones. But also, if you think about some more obscure cases maybe at the moment. On your supermarket shelves, when you look at the label of a pack of sausages, it'll have a little tractor symbol and say made in the UK, or it'll have Dutch production full chain, and it's telling you about the product, where it was made, how heavy it is, and these are all credentials. So they're explaining to the purchaser what it is they're holding in their hands, what they're about to pay for, and that's going to be moved from those labels and put onto the blockchain, and it's going to be across everything you can buy that's out there. And the difference between having your little labels on packet, I mean, they'll still have the paper labels there, but the sort of the additional information that's available will be on chain, and it'll mean that everybody is allowed to query and find out exactly where that produce has come from, exactly every step of the way, who's said they're doing something to that product, where it's touched ground, the places it's been to, all this chain of information that at the moment is kind of obscure to us, unless you're really an investigative reporter and you want to go and find out. You don't really know where your food's coming from, but soon all that will be open and available. So imagine sitting down at a restaurant of a lovely plate of food, but you've got no idea where the food's come from. And if you're, more and more we're conscious of the impact that our supply chains are having on the climate. Now, if you want to know that the fish that you're eating has been sustainably fished, it's not been overfished, then you can track that information. So you might be that you pick up your phone, you've got your menu, and you can scan the credential for that meal, and it will tell you the full supply chain of that food. So you'll know where it was fished, where it was cleaned, where it was processed, and the volumes of that fish that have been fished by this particular fish market or producer over a period of time. And all that information suddenly becomes accessible to everybody, and you can really do that on a peer-to-peer basis. So it won't be the fish board saying this is a good producer. It will be the producer themselves giving you the facts and figures of how they do it and what they do it. So it transforms everything from being third-party trusted, where you've got this big obscure supply chain, you don't really know who's telling the truth, or if there's a lie, where that lie has come about, into being, well, I can see from the person themselves exactly what they say they've done. And so you've got this whole depth of information then that you can start to make more informed decisions on everything that you buy and sell. If you want to support an African cocoa producer, you can choose your favorite cocoa producer, and you can find out all the products that they have contributed their cocoa towards, and you can go and buy those, and you'll know that the cocoa that you bought, or the chocolate that you bought, actually has cocoa in from that farm. The sort of level of detail, we just can't really understand it at the moment, but it's going to affect everything, and it's a remarkable thing. And we've got other more obvious credentials. Sorry, Luca.
No. Obviously, this is it's really interesting. Obviously, you're talking about from the supply chain management point of view, which is so interesting, because so far, whenever, especially with we buying more products, they are more expensive because they're closer to our purpose, maybe. Okay, so whether somebody's vegan, for example, I want to make sure that the products are done in a certain way. But up to now, we only been able to rely on marketing, really. Exactly. It's been difficult to trust, knowing if they were saying the right thing or not. But from a personal point of view, kind of like how would we going to have these digital identities ourselves? So where are they going to be? Are they going to be on a phone, on a computer? How do we use them to do what? For example, to log into websites, how do we store our personal information, whether it's medical or other types of personal information, and how do we share it with the people that we want to share it with, or the institutions, and how do we keep that balance as well between what we share and what we don't want to share? And that's kind of like interesting for me as well, because thinking, okay, this is all about, again, being in control of our own information. And obviously, it's a very big, I know, I appreciate it's a really wide subject and it's difficult to cover, in 10 minutes, but kind of if you can go a little bit into that and just say from a, personal point of view, like next year we might be using DIDs to do certain things. So what are these use cases for us, and how physically, how will we do it?
So it's an emerging field. So there's likely to be a few different ways of doing it. But the most accessible at the moment is through a smartphone. So if you are turning up at your local off-license, your liquor store, looking to buy a bottle of wine, and you happen to be blessed with the looks of a young person, you just need to verify your age to that seller. So the seller has got one piece of information they need from you. Are you of age to be able to buy alcohol? Now, at the moment, if you're going into a vendor like that, you're probably showing them your driving license, because it's card format, it's in your wallet. You can show them your driving license, but on that driving license, you've got all sorts of information that is of no relevance to that liquor store vendor. He is interested purely in whether you are old enough to be able to buy it and whether he's going to get in trouble for selling you that alcohol. So instead of you handing over your driving license with, potentially your home address and whether you've been caught speeding or whether you've been involved in a drink driving incident or something, you're actually just saying, no, I'm old enough to buy it, you can sell it to me. So we've removed that exposure of your personal data from the equation entirely. The off license will have a scanner, and you'll hold up your phone, which will have like a QR code or something on it, and it'll bleep yes or bleep no, and that will be him 100% sure that you're old enough. You're holding, you're the only other device. You just unlocked it with your thumbprint, so you own that device, and the only store of your proof of age can be unlocked by your thumbprint. So you've just proved you can say, this is my identity, this is my phone, I've unlocked it in front of you, I've shown you my ID, and your system has gone off to verify my credentials with a trusted authority. That could have been your driving license, it could have been your government, it could have been your university. All of these bodies that are known and trusted by most people can provide proof of your age if they know about you. And so you've exposed just your age to just that person. So your chances of being your identity being stolen have reduced dramatically, and you're not telling people things about you that you don't want to share. So the privacy that the biggest exposure to privacy we have at the moment is when you turn up at a website and it says, do you allow cookies? And you're like, I don't want to share my cookies, but I want to read this article. And am I really going to spend the next half an hour reading through your terms and conditions on your data use? Or am I going to click allow and get on with it? We're being forced to click allow, whether we don't really have a choice. They say we have a choice, but we don't really have a choice. And so we're giving away our data all the time. It will transform from just being having no choice to being able to choose legitimately all the time in our everyday lives. So it's going to be far less invasive, far less disruptive than the way that we share data at the moment. If you're going to a library, you don't need to show them your home address. Why do we do that?
And is this going to replace, obviously in time, kind of like the kind of vulnerable points like passwords and kind of like a email and password as you log into most websites and things like that, and how again it's something that you're going to do through a trusted device?
Yeah, exactly. So at the moment, if you're logging into a website then your data, your password is stored in a database. Hopefully it's stored in an encrypted format, so it's fairly safe. But with that password, every time you're typing it in, it's going from your desktop browser, your Chrome or Brave or whatever you're using. It's going from there into the website that you're going to. They are then storing your password, and they're actually probably storing that machine that's holding that database in a data center somewhere. And there are technicians in that data center who have full admin access to that server, so they could go in and find that database if they wanted to. So you're relying on a whole load of trust that everybody's behaving as they should behave. And vulnerabilities within that system are rife. It's very easy for a programmer to make a mistake, for a password to be stored unencrypted or to be typed in and it's not encrypted at the point of being sent. So you have to make sure your padlock's on, and you're relying on us being clever enough to know what we're doing, for the developers to be clever enough to know what they're doing, for the data storage guys to know what they're doing. And actually all that can be removed if I decide to trust this vendor, this website. Then he can verify my credential. I can say who I am and do it once, and then I keep hold of my data. I never have to share it again. He just has to ask me to show him a proof. And that can be, it's very interesting. You've all heard of NFTs and their abilities. Well, actually, an NFT could equally be used as a password to log you into a website or a database, as typing in the characters could be. So I'm in one program called Password Chaos, which is using that as an example. So they've done this NFT launch, and it's got everybody interested because they're launching NFT, and everyone's thinking, oh, there may be some monetary gain here. Bought the NFTs, but actually the plan for the NFTs down the road is to be a password to access a learning program, or it potentially could be used to be rewarded with some actual tokens down the road as well. So we've got all this utility built up in this NFT, and it can be your way of making money. It can be a way of getting into a website. It can be a way of proving what age you are. And the NFT doesn't have to be stored in any database that's open and accessible. It can be stored in the verifying body. So if you've got your passport data, your verifying body, which could be your government, might have the passport information and it's stored there. But you could also hold the actual signed credential version of it in your smartphone, and that will be the only location that it resides. So if somebody manages to steal your passport from the government, they still wouldn't be able to use it to prove that they're the holder of that passport. So if an employee of the government steals your passport at that end, they could never use it, because actually it's not being signed. It's only signed and given over to you, so into your custody. So just like you're all learning how to hold your wallets, and you've got your seed phrase, and I hope you all know that is the most important thing in your life now. It's more important than your password to your banking website. You can't let that go. You can't lose it. You can't forget it. You've got to be able to hold and maintain and know that passphrase if your computer burns. That's the important thing. And the way that you treat your passport at the moment, you don't want your passport getting into the wrong hands. You're panicking about it every time you go to the airport. Did I pick it up? Did I actually put it in my wallet? Did I actually pack my suitcase, not drop it into the front pocket of there? Have I, you're conscious of it. You're worrying about it. And this is the way that we will be. Instead of being over a physical product, it'll be about this digital phrase. So you can have your actual passport stored behind that phrase. You can have your driving license stored behind that phrase. And the only time it can ever be used in a legitimate way that people will trust and know is when you're there showing it and using it. So again, you just de-risk the whole storage of data, and the chances of data theft drop dramatically.
And that is something that is always like a big worry for anybody that gets involved in crypto. And we talk a lot about how to be safe in this space. And this can be like a no-brainer solution that takes that worry away from. Obviously, there is always some. You always have to be aware of the things that you shouldn't be doing, but it would cover a lot of the accidental mistakes, so to speak.
Mm-hmm.
That's great. So from the point of view of a business, obviously you are a stake pool operator, and you can perfectly operate your stake pool without getting involved with these identity programs. So what are the kind of like the first? First of all, have you started on the Pioneer program yet, or is not yet?
Yeah, the course itself has started and finished. I'm about halfway through the course materials, but it's sort of got an open timeline, so I can complete it, depending on how busy you are.
So as a business, what are the use cases for you? So what are you going to do? What are you going to do with it, with all this information? And who are you going to be your customers? And
yeah, so I run a development house. So we build software for clients. We build software as a service products. So one of our clients is a recruitment agency. They currently have a traditional website and a traditional database, and they process CVs by their thousands every week. So there's a whole load of effort, time, and expense put into securing those CVs, and people are able to go in and view those CVs who don't really have any ability or any right or need to see that. So if you put your CV into a recruitment agency and say, I want to get a job, you need to know my curriculum, you need to know my age and sex and my personal interests, that I'm an avid skier, and all this information describes you perfectly, and it's ripe for theft. So the potential for me to offer a solution where you never have to put your CV out there, you keep hold of it all the time, and then when it comes to revealing it to an interviewer, you can release it at the point of interview rather than earlier. Or it could be done where the person compiling the interview list can sit down at his desk with his task list for the day and say, I need to see this CV now. And he may click a button and say, do you authorize me to view this CV? Here's who I am. I'm a veteran in the recruitment industry. I worked in education prior to this. Are you happy with me to view your CV? And you can say yes. And then it will be unlocked for him to be able to view it for the next 15 minutes, say. And that sort of level of granular control over your identity suddenly becomes achievable with DIDs. And so, the chances of the wrong people getting hold of your personal data, again, drops to a far better level. And yet there's been no impediment added to that whole cycle of information, that use of data. So the potential for me is that, I could be offering that as a solution that's not available yet to anybody else. So it brings me up to the cutting edge, really, of abilities as a development house to be able to customers the future. And there's a lot of expense on my part for getting involved in this, time and effort and infrastructure. But I see it as it's a no-brainer. This is where everything's going. The fact that you've got every government around the world working on their own digital currency in the meantime, berating crypto left, right, and center, and trying to get people to hand over all their private information before they're allowed onto an exchange, and shutting down banks and strong arming the banking system. It's just proof that when they announce their CBDCs, their central bank digital currencies, they'll also be releasing. Oh, and by the way, we've got this ability now to to offer identity solutions to you as well. It's all coming. It's just a matter of being ready for it and being an early adopter.
A question I had, Jonathan, is that has Cardano got an edge in this sector compared to other blockchains in this?
Yeah, I mean, before smart contracts were released, we've said it on this platform before that Cardano struck a deal with a nation state, Ethiopia, to manage their decentralized identity system for the target is 15 million students. So all students in Ethiopia have, well, I think it's about 5 million at the moment, have an Atala Prism identity credentials in place. So they're able to prove that they're a student using this Atala Prism software. And that has been around since the summer last year. So in terms of a blockchain actually having a relationship with a nation state and being able to actually provide government level infrastructure, Cardano is the first. And it's because their approach is very different to most other blockchains. So most blockchains have a sort of ecosystem where there's venture capital and there's Silicon Valley approach to everything, where it's build fast, break things. If you're not breaking things, you're not trying hard enough. There's a fast and loose approach. This is a wild west. We've got to build it. We've got to get it out there, and there may be some casualties along the way, but we're making progress. Whereas the whole approach of Cardano, IOG, Charles Hoskinson have been, we'll take the academic approach. We'll start slow. We'll get intellectuals involved. We'll write papers about it. We'll give our papers to be peer reviewed by other academics. And if it's approved by our peers, then we'll release it and actually build technology on the back of it. So the life cycle of all their projects has been much slower. Their progress has been much slower, but it's been a slow burn because they've been doing it the right way, the slow methodical approach. And this is really what you want when you're building out, banking infrastructure and passport infrastructure. So it's a lead in the market that nobody else has got yet. And all the news says otherwise, but yeah, they're very confident in themselves. Me too.
I think it's important now because, as we've seen, obviously, in the past few days, the markets are going down everywhere. But this is where blockchain meets the real world. So when we starting to, put onto blockchain things that we would do in a different way. So, we see the real value now of this technology hitting the markets in 2021, 2022 that it hasn't really done before. So it's really important. We kind of okay, it's already at 35:08. So, do you want to talk, Jonathan? I know that you like many of us here in obviously in Genius U are part of Buy One Give One as well, and I know that Cardano has this Catalyst program to promote and fund projects that bring value to the community of any sort. And you have one project in Catalyst for this round. You want to tell us a little bit more about it and how people can support you, because it doesn't cost anything, by the way, to support Jonathan. It just means if you have ADA, it means voting for him in his project rather than for somebody else, or just doing nothing. So take a little action, it won't cost you anything, but it can help Jonathan a lot. And it's a good cause as well. So I would like to hear more about it.
Yeah, so I am running a project on Project Catalyst. So Catalyst is the revolutionary way for everybody involved in Cardano to be able to be funded to produce software or come up with bright ideas and actually build stuff. So 20% of all transactions on the Cardano blockchain is carved off and put into the treasury, and that treasury is obviously growing all the time. So when we're talking about the volume of transactions going through on Cardano being saturation point now with the launch of these dexes, there is a lot of money being poured into the treasury. So the round at the moment is $4 million worth. Next round, Fund 8, is 12 million. So there's $12 million available to be spent on anybody that's got a bright idea to build or improve or expose Cardano to the world. So my inkling, my drive for a lot of my work is to tie a generation of wealth into better donation systems, better ways of giving, better ways of empowering the people struggling with you know, where they live, determining their opportunities for success in life. Stake pool operators who run the network, they're managing the nodes of the network that actually is holding the blockchain. They are rewarded for their efforts, but it's a big marketing effort they have to make to be able to make a sustainable pool. But when they do, they've got a good opportunities for making money. So any differential that they can have gives them an edge in the market. And at the moment, there are lots of mission-driven pools who say they are giving 50% of their rewards of their variable rewards to charities. So Save the Children is being supported, and a lot of climate change, water security charities are receiving. But it's all done in a I promise I'll give them this money, and you don't really know if the stake pool operator is giving or how much they've given. And that's really what you're interested in as somebody who's choosing a stake pool to delegate to. And so my idea is to tie B1G1 platform, giving platform, into this ecosystem, so that if you're a B1G1 signed up stake pool operator, then all your delegators know that you are giving because they've got B1G1 as that trusted body who's saying that, yes, you're doing as you want. So if you think about it, it's almost like a DID situation, a decentralized identity. You've got your trusted party, who in this case is B1G1. They're the ones that are holding the charities to account. They're auditing their charities that they sign up. They're tracking their impact in the world, whether that's improving poverty or equality or climate matters being addressed, and then you've got your stake pool operators, and they need to be trusted as well, that they're actually doing what they want. So you've got you as the party who is holding your precious ADA, you're delegating it to this pool, and you want to know that that is making an impact in the world. And so with integrating the B1G1 platform into that cycle, then you get to know which operators are actually signed up, are actually promising to expose their giving because it's done through B1G1, and the impacts that it's making are being tracked. So I actually did a presentation of this at the last Idea Fest for Project Catalyst. So if you want to catch up on this in a greater degree, then I can drop a link to our YouTube video. I've got the presentation for it as well, but I think we should get into some questions. We're already quite an hour in.
Just one quick question, just yes or no. Is Paul involved in this, in the presentation? And have you spoken?
Paul Dunn.
Yeah.
I've spoken to him, yes, and he's all for it. He's very excited to have a way to get blockchain involved with B1G1. And Masami Sato, I've had a good few conversations with her, and there's some challenges within B1G1 in being able to accept crypto, for example, as a donation method. But this isn't doing that yet. This is a way just for them to be able to offer their current service in a blockchain environment, and hopefully will bring a lot of exposure and additional revenue streams to really continue doing good.
Yeah, it would be great to get them involved when you're doing kind of like the main presentation for Catalyst. That would be fantastic.
Yeah, so Masami has said that she'll be very willing to do that if I can once we get through this vote stage. So within Catalyst, every ADA holder has the ability to vote. So if anybody here holds ADA, I'd love you to register for voting. And then
can you tell us how to do it, and then we'll open the room to questions. So if you have a link, or you said that you're going to do something later on, share it with us.
Yeah, so after this session at 9:30, I'll be running a little Q&A. Jai has been on there before. I think it's worth coming to, is it? So if you want to join in that, you're interested in Project Catalyst, then come along and we can share a bit more with you. But I've just dropped the link into the chat for our Project Catalyst proposal page. So they'll ask you to sign up with a platform once you go to that. When you do, that link will then take you straight to our proposal page itself, and you can read all about it, read about the team behind it, and what we're planning to do, what we're planning to build out. It's all quite technical, so you don't have to absorb it all, but it's just an introduction, and there's lots of things on this platform. There's something like 800 different project proposals that you can read about and get excited about. And Sunday Swaps started from Project Catalyst. DC Spark, who create a whole load of different Milkameda, which is going to be a side chain platform to bring Ethereum applications directly onto Cardano. That will start in Project Catalyst. So this is the seed bed. If you're really interested in getting in early on some of these big projects and knowing about, okay, where are those 100 times value increases, then this is the place to really get your ear to the ground. So it is worth getting in there.
It's important that people also take part in voting, because we're talking about grassroots projects here and decentralized projects. And at the moment, only about, if I'm wrong, tell me if I'm wrong, only about 10% of ADA holder actually vote in Project Catalyst. So we want to see that number, that participation actually go up.
Yes, yeah, definitely. The volume of ADA that actually votes, because all of it's allowed to vote, and the volume that actually does is only about 10% at the moment. But the numbers are increasing all the time as the fund grows in size, as the opportunities for building out. I mean, this 12 million has started from 250,000 was fund 0, so we're at 12 million by fund 8. So in a year's time, it's going to be, I don't know what the exponential of that is, but it's doubling almost. In fact, it's doubling every iteration, and it's got a 3-month cycle. So, we're going to be flooded with cash, and it's up to ADA holders to determine the direction that the development is done in. So you can really impact, the way and the opportunities and the abilities. So yeah, signing up to voting is really great. If you go to, I'll find the link on the Cardano website as well to actually sign up for the voting app, because to be able to vote, you have to get Catalyst voting app installed on your phone. So it's got a version for Apple and a version for Android. You then go to the IdeaScale platform. I'm not exactly sure if you go to the IdeaScale site itself, but it will present you with a QR code to scan from the app on your phone, and that then registers your wallet to be able to vote. So your QR code then is a valuable thing. So at 9:30, if you come into my Discord, then I can talk you through how to actually sign up to vote. And I think this is the link. Yeah, that's working.
It's been absolutely great, Jonathan. I mean, it's really good to see, because we're always talking about blockchain in kind of almost like abstract terms, but it's really good to have somebody like you that knows us, what's happening, what it means, like physically, to be sitting there and running a stake pool and getting these programs going, because this is the real activity that I was talking about. So if you look at price, you miss all of this. Then this is what, this activity, Jonathan will keep doing this, whether the price of ADA is like 5 $5 or whether it's $1, it's still doing the same work. And there are still more people coming on, whatever the price is like. And this is why, what's happening within Cardano, and what Jonathan was describing with Project Catalyst, is that can be seen as a microcosm of what could happen in a larger organization. So Cardano is already the size of some small countries. And so you could run with the same principles, you can run all countries in that way. And they almost like demonstrating how you can do this, and starting with a small number and then growing now with kind of hundreds of thousands of people taking part in these things. And then once it goes into the millions, then we got, just even in Europe, we got how many countries only have maybe 4 or 5 million people living in it. And already technology in Cardano could run literally whole nation states. And it shows how you can generate value in a way that is not painful for people, like paying taxes, but there is just economic activity to generate the value that can then benefit everybody. So it's interesting to see how it goes on. But let's go now. We talked enough, me and you. So let's open to some questions, and it can be about this, about something else in crypto, or any questions that you have. Then keep them coming. Duncan, I haven't followed too many questions on the chat.
Well,
if you have any already,
there's a couple of things,
there?
Bit of housekeeping for Jonathan. Archie and maybe anybody else would like it. Can you share the link? Is that the Discord link that Archie was asking for?
Yeah, so that last link I dropped
The
is
9:30 meeting, yeah?
Yeah, come onto that, sign up for Discord if you haven't already. We hold the voice video conversation a bit like Zoom on there. So yeah, jump into our Discord server and you can get onto the call. The channel itself is called the Hangout. So if you look for the Hangout once you're into Discord on the Fluid 7 server, and you can join the call.
Fantastic. So just back to the general questions then. First one I've come across because it caught my eye, and we'll have to forgive Leah because English isn't her first language, but she's talking about being physically molested here. Is there no risk for, I'm just going to read it out and we'll know what she means. Is there no risk for physically physical molestation, since 100% crypto world, everyone is walking on the street with their whole account instead of pocket money and a bank pass? I can't read that, Leah. Can you sort of, maybe it'd be better if
I think I get it.
You get it? Oh, good.
I think so.
Thank you. Yeah,
So,
maybe.
Yeah, I think you're asking, Leah, if you're making yourself a bigger target by having everything in your credential, you're stored in your smartphone. And yes, you could say that. But just like you currently have your bank cards in your pocket, so if somebody wants your money, they can force you into a cash point and hold you there until you actually take the cash out. They can ask for your PIN number. That's a threat and a risk. Now it's the same deal with your smartphone. The difference now is that if they steal your phone, they won't be able to access any of this information, be able to access your accounts or anything, because the actual unlocking of the phone is done by you biometrically. So the security of what's on your phone is far greater than it was before. And with none of the data actually being accessible without it being unlocked by you being able to prove who you are, then they have far less chance of targeting you. And it's, go on. Sorry.
So could I explain a bit more? I think I like the concept very much for the digital identity. And I also ask, is medical data? I mean, that's very good if people have that in their own wallets and you're controlling your own data. I'm very much pro that. But especially just for crypto coins and for your bigger amounts, if you have things now behind this seed phrase, and I know about some people, they have the 25th word, so then you can have a small amount, just like with a limited bank pass. Still, it sort of feels for me that if you have it, if you really take it on the cold storage, you have your whole bank account in your own house. And since people knows there is no digital safety at this moment yet, so people see you on the internet looking for crypto and everyone. So isn't there this risk that big crypto accounts, people with big accounts, could be robbed fiscally, could be forced to give their whole seed phrase? So this is more for the digital wallets, which is sort of a bit behind it's next to your digital wallet for identity. But did you understand me?
Yeah. So your seed phrase is, that's the access to everything. So if you have a wallet and somebody knows that you have that wallet and what's in it, then they can target you for your seed phrase. But the chances of them being able to take hold of your seed phrase from you, I mean, I don't imagine anybody here has memorized their 24-word seed phrase. So they can't force it from you like that. You're not going to be held at gunpoint and saying, tell me your seed phrase, because I mean, they're still going to have some kind of access to you in a secure environment that they can actually steal it. So the likelihood is no one's going to come and I mean, they'd have to break and enter into your house, sit you down at your computer, make sure you unlock your computer, and then dig out, restore your wallet using your seed phrase that they can then run off with it with. And by the time they've done that, if they haven't, ended your life, then you can just change your wallet again. So, there's a lot of opportunity for protecting yourself. And, you are taking responsibility for that. But this is a far better approach to it than having everything centrally controlled.
Jonathan, there's one thing that I wanted to clarify, because several people have asked me before, and they say, can I store my seed phrase on something like LastPass or a password manager? And this is kind of like, this is the worry, because then, you can have that on your phone and somebody robs you, then they could get that from you. But this is why I always say, the seed phrase should be somewhere else, somewhere safe, like possibly written on paper, not on a digital format, and stored in a safe somewhere, so that you can get access to it if you want, but it's not easily accessed by somebody else. But I'm not a fan of. I know some people store this on password managers. I'm not a fan of that at all, exactly for that reason. Because somebody can get hold, they can force you at gunpoint to unlock your phone and unlock your password manager potentially. And if you got your seed phrase in there, then your wallet is gone.
Yeah, definitely. There's varying degrees of it. So just like you might be comfortable with taking your wallet out with your current account, your physical wallet, you might go to the shops with your current account bank card, but you're unlikely to go with your full passport ID, your investment portfolio, the phone number of your financial advisor, to go into Co-op to buy your Creative Eggs. You can split up your what you own and secure it to greater levels. So I would recommend having a wallet that you're really protecting, like Luca's describing. So get your seed phrase written onto, stamp it in metal plates, cut that metal plate in half, put one at your grandparents' house, and one in the loft of your house. And that way it's very unlikely to get stolen and broken into. But that is going to be really awkward for you to go in and manage that account, make it difficult for yourself, and you've made it extremely difficult for anybody else. So there's a great story, probably just quick drop in, where Vitalik Buterin, who's the founder of Ethereum, so he's now a multi-billionaire certainly, and he's got a big wallet, and people send him coins to his wallet to try and increase the exposure and say, oh, look, Vitalik is holding our token. He's holding 50% of our. So that was done with Shiba Inu, I think it was, or one of these dog coins. And they managed to find the address of the wallet that he kept most secure. So for him to be able to actually unlock the wallet, he had to fly to another country to get half the seed phrase, retrieve the half of the seed phrase he was keeping at home, to then combine it, to then be able to unlock the wallet on his machine to be able to move those tokens out. And so, it took him a while to do that, because you got to make plans to fly. He did it in the end, and he gave away those coins, and he funded a vast proportion of the Indian COVID vaccine program with those coins. But there are extreme measures you can take to protect your digital assets. But passphrases, like, I'm not so averse to password managers as Luca is. So LastPass, I wouldn't use. Any of them that are hosted, I wouldn't use. But if you are tech savvy and you've got a trusted party who's a small guy, you could get them to install Bitwarden for you, which is a full-blown password database. But you can actually host that yourself, and that's a way then. So as a business, we do that. We can actually store our own password database, and if I, just like my current account, it's got a small amount, it's my salary going in and out. It's not my investment portfolio. Then I do actually use a Bitwarden to store access to that wallet. So that's a level of things I'm comfortable with. But yeah, the big wallet is cold storage, backed up seed phrase, distributed. Yeah. And keep multiple copies of your seed phrase as well. You never want to lose it. So, have a digital copy, have a paper copy, have a steel plate copy.
Tattoo. A couple of related potentially questions, I think from Karen and Robin. So the first one was, without getting into legal matters, how do we approach? We've got all of our crypto estate in a wallet, and how would you approach that, Jonathan? If unfortunately, I mean, you've taken this down a very sad road with having robberies and involving your grandparents. So imagine if you were told you were going to come to an unfortunate end at some point soon. How would you go about making sure? And Luca as well, I'm asking you that we're asking, how do you go about dealing with that? Because if you've got money in the bank, everybody knows, don't they? Your solicitor's going to know, and everybody knows how that's handled after you've gone. But what about crypto wallets? And then the other question, which I'll throw at the same time, was as secure as all this is, what about the government? Are they can they see into your wallets? Have they got a special, more access potentially than even you?
Well, that's the beauty. So yeah, starting from the end, the beauty of blockchain is that everybody has the same access to the blockchain. So we can query the blockchain ourselves. You can go in, and if you know the wallet address, then you can find out what's in that wallet. So this is something that you have to start to get your head around. There's public data that's stored on the blockchain, and it's not tied to an individual unless you know how to tie that to an individual. But there's every chance that you can have that information. You can audit that information, find out the chain of transactions, who's paid what to whom. So that's what the government will be doing. They'll be auditing large transactions on the blockchains, finding out where this large sum of money went. They'll be tracking that to find out who it is they're going to pin down for their tax. And nobody likes paying tax, but tax is a good thing. This is something that needs to be solved in the new digital world. We do need roads, we do need infrastructure, we do need hospitals to be funded. So tax in the new world has to be sorted out. But the potential for theft and for malicious use of that data drops to far down. So it's much less risky. In terms of end of life plans, is what you're asking, I think. If I get hit by a bus, this bus is always coming after me, by the way. People say this to me all the time. I'm paranoid about buses now. How does my wife access my my stash? So we've talked about this a lot, and the best method I've got at the moment is I actually have a reserve phone that is holding access to my wallets, and we keep that stored safe. So, you probably could do a safety deposit box or something if you want to be really secure and you've got a lot of money. Get a second phone, make sure it's got all the access details that it needs, put it into a safety deposit box, and then your other half or the executive of your will can hold that. That way, on your death, your will gets read out, or the executor knows where to go to unlock the box to get the phone, the backup phone that's actually got access to that big wallet as well. So that's an approach you can take, and it can be your last generation phone. You don't have to keep it charged even if you don't want to, but just keep it safe and secure, locked away. You can do things like deleting the icon from the home screen of the crypto app. And you can put it into hidden spaces within the OS. So there's all kinds of different measures you can take.
As another thing as well, Jonathan, is that I don't know if you do the same, but if you have money in different smart contracts, obviously I made a list of where I've put coins, maybe where I've staked coins directly on the blockchain, something like that, and how to go and retrieve all of those. Because it can be sometimes even for us sometimes it's difficult to remember.
Absolutely.
All the coins you have. And so I do it for myself first, but also I have told both my wife and my son, how to, if something was to happen to me, where to go and look for all the things they have stored on the blockchain. Yeah,
I've done the same thing. In fact, my son is probably going to be the one who ends up accessing it.
Definitely.
Yeah. And so that is a very worthwhile thing to get started as well as you start investing in crypto, is keeping track of everything, because you are going to have to pay tax on it to somebody at some point, but also just so that you know where it all is. And 3 good software for doing that perhaps is worth mentioning. CoinStats is a good one to get a look at. It has the most integration in terms of importing wallets from importing your figures from wallets and from exchanges. Coin Tracker is another one. They're good at handling specific regional tax issues. So UK and Europe, I think they're pretty good at. And Coinly is another one that I'm just starting to look at as well, and that seems to be improving again and again, quicker and quicker. So do use these other apps to get your stuff in order. Well worth doing.
Yeah. So we finish on a good note, like on tax.
Sorry about that.
The painful one, but just I use the same. I look, then generally use the same 3 apps. And I still got some kind of like somehow some. I know that they're very safe, but somehow I'm a little bit paranoid of allowing backdoor entrance onto accounts. So kind of like I prefer downloading files into these apps rather than give them an API connection. But that's me. I know, just probably because of, as I said, but because of my paranoia more than anything else. But I'd rather keep it completely separate.
This is the only environment where paranoia is healthy. So
yeah, exactly. Exactly. All right. Okay, then. So let's finish the call here. And I think apart from it would be great to hear from all of you. But I've learned a lot as well from this thing, because as I've told you all before, yes, I do know a lot about crypto, but I am a leading learner. So I definitely don't know everything. Definitely not. And I don't think anybody can claim to know everything about crypto. It doesn't matter how technical savvy you are. There is so much going on that it's impossible to know everything. But as long as we keep an open mind and we listen and we don't get entrenched on kind of like beliefs and dogmas, as some of the maxis do, it's kind of like you can learn every day from a lot of different situations. So I really enjoyed today, Jonathan, and thank you very much for agreeing to come on at short notice. But I think it was very relevant because of what's going on in Cardano as well. So I'm actually quite happy to have had another Cardano heavy session, but I think it was really good. I mean, if you want the link, if you want to share it with anybody within your community, then I can drop the link to the YouTube link if you want, and you can share it.
For my presentation, I did drop it in earlier. So there's a link to the idea scale project proposal. There's a video link to watch my presentation, and also a link to the Discord group where in half an hour or 20 minutes we'll be doing a project checklist discussion.
Fantastic. I'm sorry, unfortunately I can't be there. I would have loved to be there, but I've got another call at 9:30. Yeah, I'll be voting for you. Okay.
Excellent.
So,
thank you very much.
definitely. I'll do that today. All right.
Perfect.
So
just dropping into the chat, guys. Just because I always forget to mention it. Luca was just talking about sharing the link for Crypto Hour. You're also free to share, guys, and also the link for Luca's community. That I'm just if I can spell community while I talk, I don't need to now because I've already said it. I just drop it in there. There's the link. So it's not just for you to make sure you're all joined. Share it. Let's grow the family in 2022. So thanks from me and from all of us as listeners and viewers, Jonathan and Luca. And guys, any questions that I missed or we missed, please bring them next week.
Yeah, fantastic. Thank you very much, Duncan, for framing it at the end. Thank you, and thank you for always being here and helping us out. This I couldn't have done it without you. So thanks, Jonathan, and thanks, Duncan. And I will see you all next Friday. So enjoy, and if you haven't done it already, just do your Sunday Swap delegation so you can get some free tokens. Okay, free money here. All right. Bye, everyone.
Bye. Bye.